Dry your eyes, everyone. Happy Monday. Your Monday is just about to get better. Alexis Nunes here alongside Shaka Hislop and Kasey Keller for a fresh edition of Futbol Americas. I've just assembled the CONCACAF Goalkeepers Union of your dreams. Like, I love me goalkeepers, but
where's Keller Navas when we need him?
Right?
Keller, come on in. Come
Memo
hang out
Ochoa.
with
We need a Memo Ochoa. And, oh, my days. You know I love me some goalkeepers. Gotta show them some love, right? But anyways, there's plenty of love for Christian Pulisic and Santi Jimenez on this show. We're going to show you exactly what they've been doing. They're looking good with a little USA-Mexico link-up over at AC Milan. Plus, has Jose Mourinho personally requested Edson Alvarez? Shaka, cover your ears because you might have to let go one of your West Ham boys. Vintage. And in case you missed him, well, Messi came back with an absolute bang. Just have a look at all of the notable accolades he has added. Every time he takes the pitch for Inter Miami, we just feel like records will keep on tumbling. All right, gents, let's talk about some Messi magic on this Monday, shall we? I mean, Messi's back and service as usual, Kasey.
Yeah, I mean, it comes off the bench, and clearly we know he's one of the best players of all time. He still is able to pick and choose his moments to exert the energy, but when he does, Shock, it's usually something special.
It's incredible to witness. It really is. And I feel like we say this time and time again, and I guess the counter to that, it's Major League Soccer, but when you see Lionel Messi at his age, and Kasey's right, arguably the best player to have ever played this game, yet does not seem to have lost a stride, certainly against this opposition. And not only in terms of not losing a stride and holding his own, but how he excels, how he excites. Still, to this day, the passing, the finishing, the vision is still unlike anything we've seen in certainly our lifetimes. And it really is incredible to witness someone at his age still having this big an impact.
And looking like he's still enjoying it, Kasey.
Enjoying every minute.
And you see how he's enjoying it. We still see the passion from it as well, which we're going to show a little bit later, where sometimes it boils over and we question. But that's the kind of thing you want to see from this guy.
Well, a lot of times passion and frustration can kind of commingle at different times. And the only way he can execute the way he does, if he still puts certain effort in to do so. Look, we know, look, you're going to see a lot of clips when maybe the other team has the ball, and he's just kind of walking back, waiting for that moment. But his teammates know that.
Yeah.
His coaches know that. He knows that. And so everybody kind of plays to a specific Lionel Messi and he will pick the time to flip that switch. And when he does, he's capable at any time of doing something spectacular, which is why his teammates say, I'll do that little bit of running for you. The fans say, I'm not going to expect you for 90 minutes, but I'm going to expect 10 minutes out of the 90 that have the potential of being spectacular.
And while you see Lionel Messi kind of strolling around at times and waiting for the ball to come to life, it's no different from what he does for Argentina. No different from what he does for Argentina. That's just the player he's evolved to at, 38 years old.
Yeah, I was saying, he's not going to be the 20-year-old.
Exactly. He's not going to go chasing every loose ball. He's not going to go tracking back on the wing back. He's there for those moments of magic. And he knows at his age how to play to those moments of magic. So while, again, it doesn't mean, we don't mean it to sound like a criticism in saying that he strolls around, walks around, and then comes to life. That is Messi at his best for both Inter Miami and Argentina, the reigning world champions.
But it's interesting that you say that, because even on Argentina, there's such an understanding from his teammates that they do have to pick up that extra bit on the pitch for him. And do you feel like that understanding is there now with Inter Miami?
Well, it has to be, because if you can't expect him at this age and what he's going to do to be the box-to-box player. So what you have to, and he's, I think, returned that kind of the idea that you run for me and I'll put something on the other end for you. And it continues to, I mean, those statistics don't lie. His goal contributions are second to none in MLS history. So when you're able to say, okay, we know we're going to get a goal or two, we might need to do a little bit of extra dirty work to play, to be with, to be in the locker room, to be on the pitch with, as Shaka said, arguably best player of ever.
That being said, though, I think there can and should be some criticism to opposing teams around Inter Miami. Not necessarily Lionel Messi, in that you accept Lionel Messi has to stroll around from time to time, and as we've been discussing, those moments of magic. But in that same team, you have a Luis Suarez, who similarly can't track back. During the highlight, I was critical of the defending up against Jordi Alba, at 36 years old, should not be running into space and finding himself 10 and 15 yards free.
I think they're giving them too much respect.
Yes. At 36 years old, up against a wing-back who, for argument's sake, is 10 or 15 years younger, you don't have to be a world champion to run, to follow a runner. There are many players who've made a career out of doing exactly that. Just running down whoever's up against them. And so you, as a 25-year-old, I think there is no excusing allowing Jordi Alba to come around you in the way that they do. And that's just not, I don't mean that targeted for this one game without this one player. But when you have a Luis Suarez who also isn't doing that kind of legwork, Sergio Busquets, as good as he is, does not cover an awful lot of ground. You're asking the opponent, well, at least make things more difficult for Inter Miami. Make them be special. Make them all be special to beat you.
Well, then let's go back to the Messi goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, pick on individuals, but the whole idea is that here's Messi. He's going to beat you. You know he's coming to his left. And then you jump out of the way. I mean, put your body on the line. Throw yourself at it. Try to make a block. If he chops you when you've thrown yourself at it, I'm okay with that. But the fact that you're actually kind of jumping out of the way.
Yeah.
They want a first row seat.
No.
To what they know is coming.
Yeah.
Gotta pay for those.
No, for me,
the
next big step for this Inter Miami team is to win something. And I think part of the problem, and I think you saw, when they lost to Atlanta, was there's a point when you're playing the better teams or the best teams in the league. Can you afford to have Messi, Suarez, maybe Alba not working as hard as he used to, maybe a Busquets that can't work as hard as he used to? Do you have enough balance to where if somebody is a little bit smarter with their defending, a little bit more tactically aware, are you then having to defend two men down, and can you cope with that?
Well, we probably won't have to wait too long to find that out, because coming up next for Leo Messi is a Leagues Cup quarterfinal with Inter Miami going up. That'd be wild with Inter Milan. Inter Miami going up against Mexican heavyweights Tigres. Shaka, that could be a good one. Does he start in this game, considering he is just coming back from injury, and with all of the things that we do afford to Messi now, considering he also is not 25 years old anymore?
Yeah, that's a big question, and we've kind of discussed Lionel Messi's workload, especially in the build-up to MLS playoffs, and exactly what that looks like. First of all, I think if it's up to Lionel Messi, he starts, as we've discussed.
If he's fit.
He still treats this game like a kid.
Yeah.
Just throw me out there, let me play, let me have fun. So left up to him, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to start. Lionel Messi also has, and I'm always careful how I phrase this. There's this Leo Messi Mexican fan thing going on that I don't really understand. But again,
what's not to understand, Shaka? He's riled them up and they rile right back.
Well, the thing is,
do you want to rile up?
I'm not getting into the history. I really am not. But to that point, that's the kind of things that he relishes. To that point. He invites that. So whereas if he was 75%, you would say, well, maybe not today. But because of that little history with Mexican fans, you could totally see Lionel Messi saying, those are the moments, those are the arenas that he just seems to love. For all the great things we say about Lionel Messi, for all that he's won, all that he continues to prove, he still has this kind of childlike exuberance about his game, which is great for us.
Miami Insider. Now, what do you guys think? Something, nothing, or everything? Do we read into this? Should I be?
He had 18 holes booked. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to get to the Doral.
Yeah, exactly. He had a tea time.
The
to
Blue
make.
Monster
He
was
had a
calling.
tea time. What's the issue?
So, no issue, nothing?
Well, we don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. There's only a couple people who probably know if there is an issue or isn't an issue. And, you know, do you have the bat phone to Messi?
No,
'Cause
no.
I don't either
Don't we all
anymore.
wish?
I used to. I don't anymore. But
The thing is, though, I think a lot of these things happen from time to time on training grounds, during games, after games. We're constantly kind of seeing exchanges between players and managers and trying to read the tea leaves where those things are concerned. More times than not, it's a storm in a teacup, and it's exaggerated because it's Lionel Messi.
there you go.
But these types of things happen every single day up and down the football.
And you're right. And Messi's not going to be able to walk anywhere without a camera following him. So if it is absolutely nothing, which we're pretty sure it is absolutely nothing, but it just, Messi did something. Maybe it could be something. What is it? Yeah.
Maybe he just has to run home for dinner.
He had 18
You know,
holes booked.
Argentinians, they love their grilling. He's got 3 kids. When the missus calls, you got to go running. Right, Shaka?
Moving on.
Right, Shaka's a good man.
Moving on.
No. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the standings and how things are looking over in the East. As you can see, Inter Miami in 5th with FC Cincinnati on top, just 1 point ahead of the Philadelphia Union. All right, let's get some more action, shall we? San Jose
boy.
up
No.
against San Diego.
Come on.
Oh, boy.
Be a goalkeeper.
Guys, you don't want to try explain that?
No, it's hard to explain. Oh, boy.
Oh. I tried to assemble the goalkeeping union. I was going to look for some good saves, Shaka, but I guess we just got the
Yeah, we got
blunders
that.
here.
Yeah,
We
thank
got
you.
The blunders here. 80th minute now.
Come on. Nice cross, good header.
Really good cross. Really nice finish. San Diego, all of a sudden, the goalkeeping error seems to have sparked them into life. Get a great equalizer, and then look at the time on the clock. What a finish to see all 3 points.
Yes, indeed. Anders Dreyer there.
Again, maybe at 1-1 late, you don't want to give that much space in behind, but take nothing away from the finish.
San Diego won. See, no problem with the goalkeeping error.
Not bad for an expansion team, Kasey.
No, well, but that's kind of the way the expansion process has worked lately. You get a whole bunch more money to spend in your first year, and then what gets harder is when then you have to make adjustments and you have no money to spend. But that first year, it's kind of what we've come to kind of expect from expansion teams now.
Yeah, good stuff from San Diego FC. They are now just 5 points from tying the 2018 LAFC's expansion record. Brilliant stuff there. All right, let's get into In Case You Missed It. Now, in only his second appearance for the black and gold of LAFC, Son Heung-min registering his first assist in a 2-0 win over the Revs.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think he has a great chance of being a very influential MLS player. He's already sold a lot of shirts. That's start number one. But number two is having an impact on the pitch. And he's already having an impact on the pitch.
Yes, indeed. Well, Thomas Muller in a Vancouver Whitecaps shirt, and what a debut it would have been for the German legend, because he scored just minutes after coming on. But they called it back, Shaka.
Don't call it back.
Don't call it back.
Just leave it. It's all right. Nobody minds, really. What a strike by Thomas Muller, all the same, though. Jeez.
How do you cuss out people in German?
Oh,
That's what
very
I'm gonna
easily.
learn. Kasey's gonna teach us. Well, there's plenty more cussing on ESPN FC. We are on 7 days a week. Could we have an exciting USA-Mexico partnership going on. This is exactly the stats that the two have put up at Milan on the field so far. So now, guys, I want to talk about the expectations for both this season. We're going to start off, though, with Christian Pulisic, because he did have a good season last season. Even on a personal level, 11 goals, 10 assists. Can he replicate that this season or do a couple better?
I think he can get better. There's no question. I think he'll get more and more comfortable. And this was, again, in an AC Milan side that was one of the worst AC Milan sides in recent history. So if they add and have better players and just maybe just creating more chances, creating more opportunities, I think there's no reason why he can't score more and assist more.
Pulisic continues to, I think, excel, certainly in a Milan shoot. Now, there are questions about Milan, where their ceiling is. But Christian Pulisic, for me, is key to so much, but certainly last season, so much good that we saw of AC Milan, albeit, again, in a disappointing season. And I don't think that this term around is going to be any different. Under new management, I'm going to expect to see Milan continue to press as high up as they did against Bari to very good effect, and which makes Christian Pulisic, with his movement, with his pace, and runs in behind, again, key to any Milan successes under Allegri.
What did you think, Kasey, of the link-up play between Pulisic and Santi? Could this be probably a nice little link-up duo going forward?
I think it's going to be really important for Santi. I mean, I think there's been a lot of speculation of players coming in up front for Milan. We know that it wasn't a great overall season, and I think if he can build any kind of relationship, either with Leao, with Christian, that can only help him, and then he just has to contribute as much as he possibly can, either in helping set up teammates or scoring goals himself. And it was a kind of a difficult transition, I think, for him coming, from Holland to Italy, and now that he's got a little bit more time, he's got a preseason under his belt, or kind of a abbreviated preseason, but still at the same time he should be more comfortable. And I mean, if they can have more combinations like we just saw there, then it'll really bode well for him.
Shaka, what do you make of their combinations? What's bringing out the best in each other, you think?
It's a good start. It's a good start for Jimenez. In that, certainly, he didn't get the nod from the start under new management, which again would raise a little bit of concerns. AC Milan themselves have also been linked with other players, Rasmus Hojlund as one, which was directly kind of threatens Santi Jimenez's role within the squad. But all you can do is take opportunities when they come your way. Rafael Leao goes out injured. You get to come on a whole lot earlier than expected, if you were expecting to come on at all, and you contribute in one of the goals. That's a good start. Yeah. And now all you try to do is build on that, and at the very least, give the manager a decision to make.
And as we'll point that now and talk about that point that you just made right now, that Manchester United's Rasmus Hojlund has been linked with a move to AC Milan, or at least it's AC Milan that are interested in the player. How concerned, Kasey, should Santi Jimenez be with this? He scored 6 goals last season. Of course, he did have an injury and he didn't have the full season either at Milan. But how concerned should he be with a Hojlund potentially coming in? Well,
if AC Milan brings in Rasmus Hojlund, it's a significant commitment from AC Milan to go and purchase a player that Manchester United paid a lot of money for and are paying a lot of money to. So if AC Milan is going to take over that contract and pay out, what Manchester United would want, it's going to be tough for Santi. It's going to be really, really tough. They're going to give the new signing every benefit of the doubt to be successful. And if he finds a little bit better goal form than he had in Italy the first time when he was young, and then in the last 2 seasons at Manchester United, then it's going to be even more difficult.
Look, from Santi's perspective, this kind of speculation and competition for places is par for the course.
Yeah. Sign for a big club. That's
exactly.
What you get.
It's par for the course at a big football club. So this hopefully should not worry you. Rasmus Hojlund has been, certainly for Manchester United, energetic, at times kind of led by with emotion, but his numbers as a striker, I always quote Dwight York when talking about strikers. Strikers just judged by one thing, and that's how many goals they scored. Rasmus Hojlund's numbers for Manchester United were not good. Rasmus Hojlund's numbers for Atalanta were not good. So while he is big, a physical presence, while he may be energetic, his numbers don't stack up, certainly at the very least what Manchester United paid for him. Now, whether Milan are willing, or how much of that salary Milan are willing to take on, I guess kind of determines where Rasmus Hojlund ends up in the end. But if I'm Santi Jimenez, and my biggest concern is Rasmus Hojlund, I look at his numbers, and
You're not concerned.
No, I'm not. I'm not concerned. But competition is par for the course. That happens whatever position you play, whatever football club you play for, if this is the level you want to be playing at. If that's the competition, you welcome it.
Yeah, you welcome it, but then I think that you still see Rasmus Hojlund as a project. And that you got this
Do you feel
energetic...
Santi's more finished?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I would say Rasmus Hojlund probably has a bigger upside. If he can become what clearly...
Milan aren't going to pay big money for him and take him on and take on his salary.
No, it would have to be...
It would have to be a loan deal. Yeah. I don't see Milan kind of... And Rasmus Hojlund has already kind of suggested that he would prefer to stay at Manchester United, but of course if Manchester United say, you got to go, you're not play, then you take that season.
Yep.
You know, you go away on loan for a season. You try to reestablish yourself, regain some confidence, because I think the last year was, at the very least, a dent to his confidence. So you try to regain that. But right now, so again, if I'm Santi, I'm not. I welcome that challenge.
In terms of style, in terms of presence, how does he stack up against what we've seen from Santi Jimenez? Because one of Rasmus Hojlund's biggest, I suppose, defenders will say that, well, at Manchester United, he just simply wasn't getting the service. And we do know Manchester United's midfield at the moment is a huge question mark. At Milan, would you say they have it a bit more together that would then help Hojlund more over Santi?
Certainly in Serie A, he will get more service than he was at Manchester United. Certainly last season, he'll get a whole lot more service than he got at Manchester United. But again, even so, and you look at his performances at Atalanta, who played similarly on the front foot, who are a very attack-minded side, and 9 goals in 32 games is not something that worries you. If Santi Jimenez can't equal 9 goals in 32 games, then he's his issue.
Yeah.
He's his own problem.
Yeah.
Not Rasmus Hojlund, Rafael, or anybody else. He has got to have higher standards than that and meet it. Otherwise, you're asking to be left out.
Yeah, well, in the limited time he's had at Milan, Santi Jimenez does have 6 goals, so I'm sure he'll be licking at the chops to get more time and at least beat that 9, right?
Why is he taking off 2 players in key positions? Cardozo and Gallagher. I don't understand it. I mean, that's the engine room of every team. And at that point, they were doing okay. They were in full control of the game. And you bring on Barrios, who's a good player. But Koke comes on. He's been there, seen it and done it all. But he hasn't got the legs. And as Luis said, they were looking a little bit off the pace. So I don't understand. I mean, at one point, I think in 6 to 8 minutes, he changed 3 of his 4 midfield. Yeah. And he tends to do this a lot. He tinkers. And now, usually we see Atleti play. A lot of the time we see him play, they're very defensive and become 70 minutes, 75 minutes, he chucks the cavalry on. You know, Sorloth, it used to be Correa, all these players. They change at half-time. Unless there was something that we don't know about, I don't get it.
I 100% agree. I thought exactly the same. Why are you changing the 2 midfielders? I can understand a little bit Cardozo because he had a yellow card and maybe in transition with Espanyol quick players, he could have a problem. But again, we are talking about an experienced player who was carrying Real Betis last year for the whole season. And you can talk to him, say, yes, be careful. You got Gallagher next to you to allow them to make those runs. But they were controlling the center of the park. In the moment that they were gone, Espanyol believe and start making those runs from the outside for the players into the middle, you could see that at some point they're going to have a chance. So I don't know what is happening, and I totally agree with Gray. I think it's not the first time, and we've seen it so many times. Those changes at halftime when the team doesn't need it because it's running in a perfect way.
Right, well, just to put things into perspective for you, that's the first time Atletico de Madrid have lost their La Liga opener under Diego Simeone. So when I said it all went to bits in the second half, it absolutely did. And did it start by what the guys were pointing out there, those changes that Cholo Simeone made, specifically taking off Johnny Cardoso, the U.S. men's national team player who has recently signed for Atletico de Madrid. What do you make of it, Kasey, from what we saw in the first half?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I mean, when I was watching the match, I had just finished doing a broadcast and was watching this match and was thinking, I didn't see anything particularly going wrong between Cardoso and Conor Gallagher. I was just like, okay. You know, one of them maybe, you know, you think they felt something, but then you would have come out publicly and said, oh, I took him off at halftime because he felt a little something. But no, this seemed clearly tactical. And I didn't understand, like the guys said, I don't understand why he made this decision. I call a lot of Atletico Madrid matches, and Simeone doesn't get it wrong that often, but we've seen a couple times where he has made some random changes and it hasn't worked. And this was an odd one, for sure, from a manager of that much experience.
I thought it was absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. And talking about Atletico Madrid, at some point last week, I made the comment about with Diego Simeone is that Atletico Madrid have players that can play an incredible brand of football. And we've seen that from Atletico Madrid. But then at the first bump in the road, at their first loss, Atletico Madrid would just revert to Diego Simeone type with this very stale, very pragmatic style of football. And I felt that was Atletico summed up in 90 minutes against Espanyol here. In that, I didn't understand, you control the first half, and then to Luis's point, okay, Cardoso picks up a booking, so what?
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
Manager say, listen, just be careful, but give me 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But to take off Cardoso and Gallagher at half-time, in a game that you're winning, in a game that you're bossing, just made absolutely no sense to me. And then later on, you bring on both Griezmann and Raspadori. You're still 1-0 up. But now you've kind of, the game is slipping from you.
You're inviting it.
Griezmann will be remembered as one of the best players of his generation. And rightly so.
Yep.
One of the best players to have ever pulled on an Atletico Madrid shirt.
Twice.
And rightly so. And,
Yeah.
Right? And rightly so. But Griezmann I'm not sure. You turn to Griezmann late on when you're losing and you need some craft, you need some guile. You don't bring Antoine Griezmann in when you're 1-0 up and the game is slipping out of your grasp. So I'm not sure what those substitutions were to do, whether to bolster the attack or better support kind of the defense, to bolster the attack or to better protect the defense. They did neither. 5 minutes later, Espanyol score. A couple of minutes later, they score the second. That loss came down, and Diego Simeone took responsibility for it, but came down to really poor substitutions.
Well, I need to brush up on my German, and so does everyone else, because the Bundesliga will be back on ESPN at the weekend, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch Bayern Munich, the champions, up against Leipzig. Did I say it right there? Leipzig.
Okay, all right.
ESPN 2 and
Derek
ESPN
Ray would be
Plus.
so disappointed.
I know, disgusted. All right, well, thankfully we can talk about the Jamaican, because that language
You can pronounce that one?
I can pronounce, my boy, Leon Bailey. Now, Shaka, it looks like he could be heading to Italia. The latest news suggesting that Aston Villa and Roma have reached a loan agreement in principle for the Jamaican before a permanent transfer could be on the cards as well. We talked about this last Thursday and whether or not this would be a good move, especially considering everything, Shaka. This is a World Cup year that has now begun. begun. Leon's situation at Villa, not enough playing time. Of course, he was marred with a couple of injuries last season too. My question is, though, even though with all due respect to Italy, when you're going from the Premier League and what Aston Villa accomplished in the last season, would this feel like a step back for him?
Not if he plays and performs. I mean, I understand the concern, but you much prefer to play at Roma under Gasperini, kind of give him the football that he plays, he plays, than be on the bench and a bit part player with Unai Emery at Villa. I think it's a good move for him. I think, again, just kind of give him the football you expect to see from Roma this season. He fits right into that. And so, if he starts regularly, should only be seen as a step up.
I do have a question. You referred to it in a World Cup year. Are Jamaica making it?
Fairly presumptuous.
You know,
given that they're in the same group of Trinidad and Tobago.
I thought it was a little. I thought it was a little
I am
presumptuous.
just saying, it's a World Cup year, so everyone's trying to put in their best performance.
Okay.
All I'm saying right now, if we don't qualify for that World Cup, you hear me? I am changing my nationality to
In the same
anywhere
group
that
of
will
Trinidad and
take
Tobago,
me.
I'll add one more time. But carry on.
We can take care of Trinidad. We can take care of Shaka's people. Don't you worry. Bring it. Just kidding. It's one love in the Caribbean.
Don't try to butter me up now. Too late.
It's one love in the Caribbean, but they are our closest rivals in the Caribbean. But just remember, we qualified for a World Cup first.
Yeah, boy.
Just reminding Shaka. Anyways, let's move on, shall we?
Please.
Now, this is an interesting story. It's one that, of course, we spoke about last week as well. Edson Alvarez at West Ham. Could he be on his way out? Now, word is that Jose Mourinho has made a personal request to sign the Mexican. Ajax also want him. He would be going back to Ajax, where he had spent 4 years before. But Kasey, what does he do? What would be best for him?
Well, I think it's twofold. It's a question like, well, first of all, if he's not in West Ham's plans, and it kind of looks like he isn't, yes, to Shaka's point with Leon Bailey, it's exactly the same. Go somewhere and play. Couple big clubs in both Ajax and Fenerbahce. You have the going back to your old club, which it's comfortable, but also at the same time, you can never go home. You can never replicate what you did before. Turkey, a new challenge, new country. Turkey has its own little obstacles that you have to navigate.
But it's Jose Mourinho who specifically wants you.
True.
Usually Jose gets what he wants.
And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see not only if both of these progress, and because as we all know, we've all had more deals collapse than actually materialized. So when you hear stuff like that, very rarely you're in a situation where you actually get to choose. One of them will come to the forefront probably and agree with West Ham. And then he has to make a decision if he wants to leave West Ham.
But Shaka, is it a step down, Turkey, Netherlands?
If I were advising Alvarez to choose, I'm thinking Fenerbahce for all the reasons that Kasey just said. There's a cliche city within the game about going back to previous clubs or going back to a club that you played for or be with good effect in Ajax. Jose Mourinho at Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce are a big club. Turkey's an extremely passionate place to go play football. And kind of given who Jose Mourinho is, his standing within the game, you perform for him, who knows what else that opens up. So right now, I'm again, if I were advising Edson Alvarez, I'm leaning heavily Fenerbahce here. But at the same time, I don't think he was great for West Ham, and Graham Potter happy to move on. So as a result, I think it's good for him to go somewhere that he's wanted. And if Jose Mourinho gives you a call, that's one you answer.
And again, just speaking with an eye on the World Cup as well, if you're Mexico and the Federation and Aguirre watching all of this now, knowing that a manager of the caliber of Jose Mourinho is requesting your player, this helps him even further.
Well, I think either way, it's if you're wanted and you're going to play week in and week out at either an Ajax or a Fenerbahce, the Mexican Federation would be much more excited about that prospect than here and there for West Ham.
Yeah.
Let me just say, right? Mexico are hosts. She doesn't say Mexico. She doesn't say it's a World Cup year. Mexico.
I did. I
No,
just
no,
said
no.
with
You didn't
one
say.
eye to
You
the
did
World
not.
Cup.
You didn't say it was a World Cup year. You
But
kind of avoided that
there's
phrasing.
more competition
And we
within the
all
Mexican
know
national
Mexico
team
are
than
going to be in the World Cup.
But hold
You're
on.
talking about Jamaica and a group of Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, it's a World Cup
he
year.
better because
it's a World Cup
World
prize.
Cup year.
Oh, goodness
Yeah.
All
me.
I'm saying is that Mexico in a World Cup year where they are hosts, you know the Mexican
Yeah, you
press,
didn't. No, you didn't.
media,
You didn't
everyone's
paint
gonna
that
be on their
rosy
case.
picture a minute ago.
Was that
Let me just say, you didn't paint that rosy picture a minute ago, right?
Shaka,
I'm just saying.
I would hope that Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, we are both at the World Cup.
Alexis?
Reggae boys, soca warriors.
This is not done.
I was
This
trying
is
to think.
not done yet.
It's not done. Oh, don't we play you in September?
Yep.
Bring it on. Num,
Qualifier?
num, num, num.
Qualifier?
Yep.
Where?
Yeah. In
September's in
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
In Jamaica. We should go down. We should do Futbol Americas from there. Shaka and I.
I'm down.
Kasey will be like the referee though.
I'm down.
To say after, I'm ashamed. I'm totally disappointed with our performance. The fans have every right to protest, obviously without using violence. But if they want to curse and insult, they are in their right. It's a feeling of extreme shame. I've never experienced this in my life. Unfortunately, it happened. The tears were from anger, from everything. Unfortunately, I can't help in every way. Anyways, it was total shh. That's the reality. And Neymar is right. He hasn't really experienced a loss like that. That was the worst ever defeat he has suffered in his career. And now we have a lot to question.
I wish we could say that.
Yeah, wow.
What was your worst defeat?
7,
How many
I
did you
think.
let it?
I got seven.
Yeah, I got
right?
7.
I got
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad I assembled the best here.
Yeah.
But speaking back to Neymar now, just with everything going on too, we've talked about it. Shaka, I think it was with you in a couple of Futbol Americas ago, we were talking about whether he would be, with his current situation at Santos, whether he would be a shoo-in for a call-up from Brazil, especially with that World Cup and knowing the expectations on Brazil, but also what he does bring to the Brazil team. Now you look at Santos, who are inching closer and closer to relegation. They've recently sacked the coach after this 6-0 loss, and it just doesn't bode well for Neymar.
No, it doesn't. And a lot of the criticism around Neymar's statements a couple of weeks ago that we were discussing
That he has no point to prove.
around Carlo Ancelotti and no point to prove, which some interpreted as being tinged with an arrogance. Now, while I was kind of happy to defend him in that, you know, he doesn't, and all you do is you go out, you play the game as best you can, and hope the manager takes notice. I kind of feel like this latest statement adds to that, adds to the criticism, in that I think I'm right in saying he was quoted as saying, "I can't do everything."
Yeah.
Going right back to those conversations, all you do is play the game, hope the manager takes notice, and you're selected as a result of those performances now, not who you once were. Yeah. He has to continue doing that. He has to continue doing that for Santos first and foremost, because I heard somewhere that is a World Cup year, so he's got to.
And Brazil will be there.
He's got to keep.
Jamaica.
He's got to keep that. I'm sure he has that in mind as much as anybody on this day.
If they had lost 6-5 and you scored 3 or 4 goals,
exactly. Yeah.
Now I'm okay with
Then
the
you-
statement to a point. Still, it maybe.
Like I did something, but I couldn't do it all.
But I couldn't
Right.
do it all.
Yeah.
But when you lose 6-0, and yeah, you got to just kind of. I like a lot of the statement. We were not
Yeah.
good. You have every right to be angry
Yep.
at us. All that stuff's brilliant. But then that little deflection of,
yep.
but I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not me.
It's
it
not-
wasn't me.
If you're Carlo Ancelotti, what are you thinking?
Oof.
These last, I think it's been about 3 weeks or so that we've been seeing this situation at Santos with
I'm
Neymar.
not sure, because as I said a couple of weeks ago, for all my criticisms around Neymar, that he's not the player that he once was, is he or should he be good enough to get into Brazil? Should he be good enough to get into the Brazil team? This version of Neymar, the answer is no. But then you see Brazil play, and you feel, when I saw them, I felt they were screaming out for that kind of big personality on the park. And the one thing you say about Neymar is he is a big personality.
But they have a Vinny Jr. as a big personality.
They had Vinny Jr. on the park. They had Rafinha on the park. I can't remember who it was they played in the last qualifier I'm thinking about.
They have the great signing that is Mateus Cunha,
You had
Manchester United player.
they had Rodrigo on, but I'm more thinking you had Vinicius Jr., who many thought would have won the Ballon d'Or last year. You had Rafinha, who's surely on a short list alongside Dembele and Lamine Yamal for the Ballon d'Or this year. And I watched that Brazil and just couldn't help but think neither of those two stood up in a way that it was against Argentina. I remember because Rafinha had something silly to say right before the game.
Yes.
And then they go and lose. Nobody just kind of made that team their own. Nobody wanted to be that star in the way that, at the very least, Neymar is trying to be for Santos.
Well, and kind of, you almost feel like, can Brazil do with Neymar what Argentina does with Messi?
Yeah.
Can they have that guy that can be the moment of magic that they need and everybody else understands? But I don't know if he has that same pull anymore in the Brazilian national team that Messi has kept for the Argentinian national team. Yes, that was evident 4 or 5 years ago, but I don't know if it's the same character.
Yeah, well, like I said, Santos, they're inching closer and closer to relegation, but it's not all over yet, so we will continue seeing if it goes on the up, at least for Neymar in Brazil. Well, like I said earlier on, La Liga is back on ESPN, and we've got a clash for you in the week. Real Madrid opened their campaign up against Osasuna. That's Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, but join us 30 minutes earlier for the pre-show at 2:30 p.m. on all those channels. All right, let's talk some drippin' or trippin', because everyone's releasing their kits and now it's PSG's turn. PSG and Nike have unveiled a T90 inspired kit, a nice little blast from the past there. Now, I am all aboard everything T90, let me just say that. And PSG dropped some absolute bangers. Now, when I'm looking for fashion or fashion approval, I don't necessarily think Kasey and Shaka, but today, this is who I have to work with. So guys, are we dripping or tripping?
Chuck?
But if you're gonna say tripping, I want you to say it with attitude. Do you know what I mean? And dripping with attitude. Shaka?
I'm not wearing that shirt to go out.
To me, it's a jersey.
What's special about that?
It's just a red
you guys
shirt
are
with a blue
goalkeepers.
collar and a white pinstripe.
But it looks cool, right?
Let's go for what?
It's
Oh my
It's a red shirt.
That's what I mean. It's a red shirt.
There is nothing special about that shirt, Alexis.
But there's nothing controversial about it
No,
either.
no,
It's just a nice
Well,
red
like I
jersey.
said,
As red shirts go, it's a nice
It's a
red
nice
shirt.
red shirt.
It's a nice.
anybody under the age of 50 that's watching us,
Yeah.
you don't need
No,
to
you
go.
see.
All right, now she's
You-
getting
yeah,
ageist.
yeah, no.
Now she's getting
Shaka,
You
ageist.
get-
Or Kasey.
You get fooled with this whole total 90.
Oh.
The old weird total 90 shirt.
put your-
It's a red jersey.
Put your parents
gonna
in
say
debt for a red jersey.
It's dripping. This is straight dripping.
It's a red jersey.
Look at the little magic have added. Little
Fantastic.
Right.
sprinklings of.
Let me tell you something.
It's a low bar. It's a good red jersey.
You know what?
nice red jersey.
For all the bad talking I was
It's a
giving
red
you, you guys
jersey.
do dress very nicely. You look very.
Oh, stop trying to butter us
No,
up.
you can't
You're
go
not
down.
fooling anybody with that.
Like I said, I mean, guys, we don't really need to trust them for fashion sense.
Red jersey. It's a red jersey.
Shaka will be back.
But it
guys.
had some very nice pinstripes.
Pinstripes were nice. I thought it brought it out.
Oh,
To
it
me. You guys are goalkeepers. Goalkeeper kits are very loud and red and
No,
proud.
it's not,
No, it's not.
not loud.
All right, I'm not
No,
winning
we
this
are
one. I'm going to
fashionable.
lose. But anyways, please join us
Goalkeepers
again.
are fashionable.
We'll be back with Futbol Americas on Thursday. Kasey's leaving us, but Shaka's going to be here. We're going to look back
I'm
at
gonna
the
wear my
League
red
Cup
jersey.
recap. Quarterfinals coming your way.
A Trinity red jersey.
That's
A
right.
Trinidad
Find
red
out
jersey.
more about fashion.
A dripping Trinidad red jersey for Shaka.
Ah, boy.